Welcome to a wet and windy Boreham Wood for live Women's Super League coverage of Arsenal against Aston Villa. Out of Europe, out of the FA Cup, the league remains Arsenal's only chance of silverware after a rollercoaster season.
To the box, it's a lovely goal. Arsenal have a third. They go 8 points clear at the top.
Keeper Blackstenius, and it's 3. Arsenal are absolutely relentless.
And Arsenal are in all sorts of trouble.
Off the bar and in, and that could send Chelsea to Wembley. Arsenal simply can't afford no slip-ups from here on in.
What a goal that is for Arsenal, but the dreams are still alive.
And that is Arsenal's season in a nutshell. 3 games remain in the Gunners' fight for the title against reigning champions Chelsea. They're playing 2 games in the space of 3 days, their next match being at the Emirates on Wednesday in the North London derby. Well, Aston Villa are saying goodbye to a legend. Earlier this week, Villa defender Renita Asante announced her retirement at the end of the season after a 19-year career. Tributes today from Arsenal, where she won 5 league titles. It is Arsenal against Aston Villa in the Barclays Women's Super League. Kick-off here at Boreham Wood is in just over 5 minutes' time. Hello, I'm delighted to be joined by Rachel Brown-Finnis, former Everton and England goalkeeper, and Arsenal legend Kelly Smith as well. Rachel, today is all about staying in the title race. They cannot lose today. They've got to get at least a point, because if they don't, Chelsea will be crowned champions if they beat Birmingham later.
They won't want a point. They'll want to win today. Simple as that. They want to keep the pressure on Chelsea, and they can do that today. It's in their hands. Today is in their hands. They can't worry about what other teams do around them. Like Manchester City have got momentum. Chelsea have got the upper hand. Today, it's all about 3 points for Arsenal.
Yeah, and I think Arsenal's front three has been unstoppable this season, especially with Beth Mead and Katie McCabe out on the left, Viv through the middle. So there's always goals in this Arsenal side. And for me, Aston Villa are a little bit weakened today with Jill Scott out with a knee injury and Remy Allen with an ACL. So I think Arsenal will do this today.
OK, well, let's see if they will. Let's hear from the managers now then, from both sides. But we're going to start with the Arsenal boss, Jonas Eidevall, who's been speaking to Jeanette Quatchy.
Preparation is key now. These last few games need maximum points now, don't you, to make sure that this stays in your favour ahead of the title race. How are you approaching that? How are you absorbing any of the pressure potentially that might be coming your way?
Game by game, stay focused on the task. That's my learnings from previous experiences, and what I try to live as an example of myself.
You made it really awkward for some of the top teams. You've been really resilient as a team. We should expect that here today. What's the approach?
Yeah, listen, the approach is to go out there and do what we have been doing, defend together, look after each other. When we get on the ball, we want to see a calm and composed side of us, and I think we've shown that recently, you know. And the one thing we've got right now is a real wholehearted togetherness, that whether you're 16 years old or you're 36, 37, everyone's got the same mentality, everyone's on the same page, they want to look after each other, and we want to try and get something.
Well, Carla Ward's going to keep her eye on several players, but one of them, Kelly, will definitely be Beth Mead. She's having the season of her life. Only last week, she surpassed Karen Carney's record of top W assists in the WSL as well, and she's thriving on all fronts, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Been outstanding for Arsenal this season. Look at just here, she's pressing from behind, she wins the ball, and this delivery here into the Arsenal forward, sensational. She just presses so aggressively, and she starts a lot of the presses off for Arsenal. You just see her at the top of the pitch, ghosting on the right-hand side, and that's what you want from your winger, coming in off the line and finishing there. And then this one here, just posts up and sets Jordan Nobbs with an easy finish. But she's been everywhere for this Arsenal side. Certainly my player of the season. What she brings to this Arsenal side is pressing, energy, aggression, goals. She's just been phenomenal.
Yeah, she's had it all, hasn't she? And someone else who's had it all is Anita Asante. Asante, and she'll be retiring at the end of the season. She comes back to her childhood club today, Rachel.
She does, full circle, where it all started. Won the quadruple here with Arsenal in 2007 as a youngster, and comes back here and rightly honoured with, you know, a presentation from Arsenal. But she's always been a master of reading the game, Anita. She's exceptionally quick, she's powerful, but her reading of the game, being able to intercept, being in the right place at the right time, knowing when to drop off, give herself a yard, knowing when to get tight, her composure on the ball. She's that ultimate centre-half who can A, defend, but B, start attacks as well. Yeah. She's been a wonderful custodian for this, not just for this club, but for women's football.
Yeah, indeed, hasn't she? There's a big cheer, I think, here as the Arsenal players are coming out. There will be some sort of guard of honour for Anita Asante today as well. It's a great atmosphere here. Lots of eyes on Arsenal here. They've got to stay in the hunt for this title. Only a win, really, realistically, will do today. What an atmosphere at Boreham Wood. Let's hand you straight over to our commentary team before the first half gets underway. The former England and Reading midfielder Farrah Williams, but first Robin Cowan.
Thank you very much, Reshmin. Good afternoon. Another crucial game in the Barclays Women's Super League, but first things first. To mark the retirement of a true pioneer of the women's game, at the age of 37, Anita Asante's 19-year career will come to an end this season. And fitting that the penultimate game before the boots are hung up against the team where it all began, and Arsenal were keen to show their respect and admiration for one of the greatest footballers this country has ever produced. Let's get your teams then. 2 changes to the Arsenal side that beat Everton last weekend. Lydia Williams starts in goal, only her second WSL appearance of the season. Katie McCabe starts in place of Stina Blackstenius, who drops to the bench. McCabe scored in the 4-0 victory at Villa Park in the reverse fixture in October. Tobin Heath has been released early from her contract with Arsenal after injury ruled her out for the rest of the season. 2 changes too for Aston Villa. Remy Allen will be out for the foreseeable future after rupturing her ACL. 17-year-old Olivia McLaughlin replaces her. And there's a first start since January for Chantel Boy-Hilorka. Jill Scott is also out injured in a depleted midfield for Aston Villa. So into the final week of the Women's Super League season, and it is all about Arsenal. As we mentioned in the build-up, Farrah, they need to keep on winning to take it to the final day, and that's all they need to think about.
Yeah, this is a big game for Arsenal today. They're at home against, you know, an Aston Villa team that are in form and have found their way a little bit. They've picked up some, you know, big results in the last few games, Aston Villa. So this will be difficult for them today. But look, in order for Arsenal to keep the pressure on Chelsea, who play later this evening, they have to pick up 3 points today at home.
Lisa Benn is the referee. And in the absence of Remy Allen, the normal captain for Aston Villa, it is Anita Asante who is given the captain's armband. She wants to dedicate, though, these final 2 games to the stricken Allen. A huge miss, Farrah.
Yeah, look, Remy Allen has been fantastic for this Aston Villa team. It was a massive loss when she left Leicester at the beginning of the season to join Aston Villa. And she'll be a huge miss for this Aston Villa team going forward. And it's somebody that I know Carla Ward's going to have to look for in the summer to replace, because she's hugely important for this team, a fantastic player, somebody that I've played alongside. And, you know, maybe her importance to the fans and to the viewer probably it goes unnoticed at times, but as a teammate I certainly know what she brings to the pitch and how hard she works and what a good player she is. So she'll be missed today, but I'm sure she'll be there, you know, supporting her team on and encourage them from the sideline.
So a couple of big misses for Aston Villa and a couple of big players they're going to have to replace for next season. Remy Allen with a long-term injury, and of course Anita Asante, who will be retiring. Final away game of the season for Aston Villa. Good memories of their last trip here. A 0-0 draw before we get action underway. All teams and officials take the knee. So for Arsenal, 3 more games remaining of the season. They start the day 4 points behind Chelsea, who play later on. And if they do lose this game, Chelsea can win the title this evening with a win against Birmingham. Arsenal, Farrell, will be heavy favourites to win this one, but actually got to perform, do it on the pitch, of course.
Yeah, they do. Look, they are favourites going into this game. But it's interesting to see, they looked as if they've changed their formation already going into this game. So maybe they're already looking towards next season and how they can change and adapt to make themselves compete better with Chelsea next season. They look as if they're going to 4-4-2, which we haven't seen this Arsenal team do this season.
Pacheco has the ball for Villa momentarily, but gives it away to Catley. There's Caitlin Ford, the most central forward players. And Williams in goal. A rare start for her with Zinsberger on the bench. Wubben-Moy allowed to stride forward. Here's McCabe. Now Catley, very forward-thinking left back. Arsenal on an excellent streak in the WSL at least, and especially at home, unbeaten last 13 here at Boreham Wood. Haven't lost a game in the WSL here under Jonas Eidevall. Here's Meadow Park. Just skips away from Katie McCabe, and the shot from Catley well over the bar. The first good opening for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a good chance for Arsenal here. Miedema, you know what I like about Miedema here is she's, keeps the attack alive here. She gets on the press and finds a pass. She passes the ball across the box. Beautiful pass, and Catley it is that comes onto it here and strikes over. She's just, leaning back as she strikes onto that.
Villa playing it out. Lovely touch from Pacheco. Gilnick can't take possession. It's a really good result for Villa last time out. Goalless draw against Manchester United, and that was without their first choice goalkeeper as well. Sian Rogers donning the gloves again today with Hannah Hampton on the bench.
It's an interesting one, that one. Rogers coming in for Hampton. Hampton just breaking into the England squad. So it's an interesting, change for this Villa team. I don't want to be looking into too much, but maybe is it that Hampton's looking on a move towards the end of the season if she wants to keep her place in this England team, and Aston Villa are looking to build for next year.
2 caps for England, Hannah Hampton. Expect her to be named in the squad. It's a little bit too much on that from Corsi for Pacheco. There is Hannah Hampton. Bit of an up and down season for club, but has certainly impressed for country in her 2 England appearances.
She's a fantastic talent, Hampton. Certainly from her feet and how she starts attacks and can play, she's fantastic, and certainly one for the future.
As Reshman mentioned in the build-up, Arsenal only have the title to think about now. Lost here a couple of weeks ago against Chelsea in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Out of the Champions League. Out of the Continental Cup at the quarter-final stage.
I don't think anybody could have predicted the position Arsenal are in now. Given the start they gave to the season, the start of the season, they were fantastic, and everybody was, tipping them to be, league champions and certainly go on to do good things this season. And, in the last couple of weeks, it seems to have all fell apart for them. They look a bit flat today. They look a bit flat. I'm just watching them pass the ball about. Maybe, Villa was sitting off them and they have to use the ball and speed up play and try and create something, but they look a bit flat. The fans are a bit flat in the stands as well.
Yeah, it's a certain different type of game from the one here a couple of weeks ago against Chelsea. Great first time ball Ford back to goal, back to Meadow Park, well fielded by Rogers.
Look, it was a fantastic crossfield ball from Leah Williamson, and the way that Katie McCabe just cushions it, Ford just beautifully holds off the defender, and you know, you'd expect more from Meadow there. Great ball back in from Katie McCabe. Ford does brilliantly, and Meadow we'd expect to do more, you know, with a shot inside the box. Normally we see her put them in the back of the net.
A little bit too close to the goalkeeper on that occasion. They don't want to give her too many opportunities from that sort of range. Williamson, another pinpoint crossfield ball. Catley. A good challenge from Sarah Mayling.
I really like that Katie McCabe's back out on the left of a front three. I think, you know, she started there at the beginning of the season, was scoring some fantastic goals, assisting players, and then due to injuries at the club, she ended up finding herself at fullback. But her and Catley down that left-hand side, they have you know, the combinations and the understanding that they have is fantastic.
Maritz, closed down by Boyle-Lorca. Ford gets the foul, the free kick, pushing the back from Corsi. Arsenal restart quickly. Wubben-Moy. Now Catley. Little turning into Petzelberger.
Looks like it's going to be a game where Arsenal have to be patient, use, you know, certainly speed up the passes that they're playing. The longer they play the short and slow passes, the easier it is for Aston Villa to stay in shape, and they'll be quite comfortable with that, Aston Villa.
Back to snuff out that Aston Villa attack. Williamson onto Wubben-Moy. A bit sloppy.
You have to be patient, Arsenal. Aston Villa are sitting in a good shape with four at the back and 5 just in front. Here's the chance we're seeing again. Katie McCabe. Great play from Ford just to hold off, you know, the defender here and set Meadow up for the strike. But it's only been that has been the only chance of the opening 10 minutes of the game, and I think Arsenal have to be patient in their build.
Great pass from Williamson, breaking the lines. Here's Meadow Park. Too strong for Rogers. And Arsenal hit the front inside 10 minutes. From a really good opening ball from Leah Williamson to cut open Villa, and Meadow Park with the finish.
And that's what Leah Williams so good at, finding balls in between the lines, plays into Beth Mead, who sets off Meadow. You see here Leah Williamson finding balls between the lines. Meadow collecting the ball. What a strike. I think the keeper, Rogers, should have done a little bit more. It's straight at her. But maybe the power from Meadow here is too much for Rogers to hold. A fantastic strike.
Goal number 22 for Meadow Park this season. 13 in the WSL. A crucial goal in the title race. Powerful, but I think Rogers maybe could have done a little bit more with that one. Here's Mead through the legs, and it's well claimed by Rogers with Caitlin Ford inches away.
Just a mistake there at the back from Aston Villa, and it falls to Beth Mead, who finds Ford in the box, but You see here, Beth Mead just, again, trying to get another assist, finds forward, but Rogers is off her line quickly.
It's WSL's top assister, taking the crown from Karen Carney last weekend against Everton. Williamson, another pinpoint ball. Mead crosses in. Malin gets her head to it. Lehman. Aston Villa, not the start they wanted, because now they're going to have to show a bit more attacking threat, something that's been a real problem for them this season. Just 13 goals in 20 WSL games before today. Really not good enough in terms of return. They've strengthened at the back. Clearance from the goalkeeper straight to Mead. A beautiful pass. Maritz, a couple of deflections and into the goalkeeper.
This could be a long afternoon for Aston Villa. After the goal that Needham has scored, Arsenal stepped it up another gear.
Pacheco. Arsenal calmly deal with that. Catley under pressure though from Lehman. Welty using her body well to work the space. Williamson. Maritz.
I think we could see this from Leah stepping into the game. You know, they haven't got no pressure on the two centre-halves of Arsenal, and you know, I believe one of them can step in. I think Leah Williamson's the better of the two that does that. We've just seen before her driving forward with the ball, so it could be something that Arsenal do, you know, a bit later in the game and as the game develops.
Carla Ward, before today, lost 14 out of 15 WSL games against the top four. She did take a point off Manchester United last weekend. Ford, onto Miedemar. Arsenal always looks so dangerous. And backing off her, it's Miedemar! A second one! Too much time, too much space, and that is the outcome. 2-0 to Arsenal, and 2 for Vivianne Miedemar.
You can't allow players of her calibre time and space like that. The pass was a simple pass through the middle of a park. It was too easy to find the balls in between the lines. We can see here, Miedemar picks it up between the lines and just runs at this Villa back line and hits one from just outside the box. And again, hard and low into the bottom corner, leaving Rogers no chance.
Too easy from a Villa perspective, especially when you've got one of the WSL's leading scorers. And again, they've given it away. Miedemar on a hat-trick. Through for Ford. Very good save, down low. Rogers prevents a third.
They look nervy now, this Aston Villa team, and with the likes of Jill Scott and Remy Allen not in that middle of the park there with a bit of experienced heads, you know, they're struggling a little bit, Aston Villa, and the nerves are kicking in, and they've obviously conceded 2 now within the first 12 minutes of the game, so they need the likes of Anita maybe to encourage them. This is just a replay of Miedemar's goal. She picks it, sorry, the replay of the chance for Ford. Miedemar just finds Ford in between, and it's a great save from Rogers.
Arsenal also lacking on goal difference when it comes to their pursuit of Chelsea, so they may feel that this is an opportunity, given the start they've made. It may not be enough, of course. Chelsea win all their games, they win the title again.
The gaps here, you can see between the Aston Villa back four and their midfield five are huge gaps, and you know, you can't allow for that when you've got the likes of Miedemar that can just sit inside those pockets and pick up the ball. I think they need to tighten up.
Ruben Morrow to Catley, always an option on that left-hand side. Foul on her by Lehman. Free kick for Arsenal.
Yeah, she just catches her late there. Not sure Catley had much control of the ball, but it was certainly a free kick. You can just see here as they're getting into shape to defend this free kick, there's just no one really organising this Aston Villa team, and a lot of young players, not much experience. And as I mentioned before, Jill Scott and Remy Allen are huge misses for this team.
A couple of teenagers in the heart of the midfield for Aston Villa. Good prospects, but not exactly experienced. Mead takes it, cleared by Asante. Williamson, beautiful bit of skill, drawing Boyle Hawker in. And then a brilliant pass out to Beth Mead. Out of play for a corner.
Leah Williamson does that so well, doesn't she? She shapes up as if she's going to play a long ball. Boyle Hawker comes and puts pressure on her, and she just sweeps past her before playing a magnificent diagonal ball out to Beth Mead on the wing. We've seen her do that much of the season for Arsenal.
Enjoying herself out there today, Leah Williamson. Will be the captain of England at the European Championships this summer. Leading by example. Ball is left for Beth Mead. It's towards Ruben Moy, pushed aside and in, but the flag is up. It won't count. Slight reprieve for Aston Villa. Flag went up very quickly, and Caitlin Ford is denied.
It's a really good delivery from Beth Mead. Deep delivery. Ruben Moy, though, unmarked inside the box, gets a free header, and it's a good save down from Rogers. You see here, Ruben Moy, unmarked. A free header, and you can just see, I think it's Kim Little in front of the goalkeeper there, and she's the reason why the goal's been given offside.
A good decision from the assistant referee. Little clearly offside. Definitely interfering with play. Couldn't really have been closer to Sian Rogers unless she was standing on her toes.
I know that's something that Aston Villa work on, though, set pieces. I know their goalkeeping coach, Tom, and he certainly works on their set pieces and how they can get out, you know, for second phases to get the offside, and they've done it there from a delivery from a corner.
Williamson into Ford. Mead. Some crisp passing from Arsenal. And Villa, when they have it, they don't have it for long. Pacheco dispossessed. Now out of position. Mead. It took them till after the break in the reverse fixture at Villa Park to score against Villa. It's not taken them long at all to score, not once but twice this time around.
Yeah, it was a much more disciplined Aston Villa team at Villa Park, and I was there for that game as well. And you know, they were diligent in their defending. They were together as units. They blocked shots at goal. They were getting in front of people. They was aggressive. They just haven't been the same Aston Villa team today. And Arsenal themselves have done really well. Look, they've moved the ball a lot quicker really early on, and using the zip on the pitch from from the rain that's fallen, and look, they're playing really well. And Aston Villa can't get anywhere near them.
It's been a good season though for Villa in terms of progression. Stayed up last season by 3 points and accumulated a lot more this time. 6 points more than the whole of last season already. Been safe for quite some time. Here's Little, slides it through for Beth Mead. Good save at the near post from Rogers. Been very busy. Danger not over quite yet. And the problem is, Farah, I guess Arsenal haven't really had to work for these goals and opportunities even.
They haven't. It's been easy for them, and I keep mentioning, but the gaps between the lines, the back four and the midfield five have been massive, and you know you can't allow the players like Leah Williamson and Ruben Moy to make those forward passes between the lines because they find them really easily. And when you've got players like Miedema and Beth Mead and Katie McCabe in those pockets, turning and facing a back four and driving with the ball, it becomes really difficult. We just see Beth Mead's chance here at the near post, and as you mentioned, Rogers has been really busy, and a really good save at the near post there to deny Arsenal a third.
Horsey. Excellent ball to find Gilnick. Nice play from Ruben Moy. Miedema and now Maritz.
They look really disjointed, Aston Villa. You got half of the team wanting to go man for man with players, and when the likes of Kim Little pulls herself out wide, you've got the midfielders wanting to go out with her, which creates really, really big holes. You can see the midfielders just wanting to get tight, but what it does do is allow massive gaps for players like Miedema to get on the ball.
There's Velty. Callie can't quite keep that one in. Approaching the midway point of the first half, very comfortable one at that for Arsenal. I'm sure they'll be targeting another season of progression, Aston Villa. Maybe the likes of Tottenham want to emulate. Williams prevents the corner. It's a rare foray forward for Aston Villa and Alicia Lehmann there.
I think they need a little bit more experience to build next season, Aston Villa. I think they've got some good young players coming through. They've obviously got the likes of Remy Allen, and you know, if Jill Scott is to extend a loan move here, would be a really good signing for them, but I think they need a bit more experience to help these younger players out.
Perfect pass, and that's a really good challenge from Corsi. Just in the nick of time as Kim Little was bearing down on goal.
Again, it's just so easy for Arsenal to find passes between players. It's a great recovery run from Corsi to get a toe in it out for a corner.
Taken short. There's something the referees aren't happy with.
They took the corner too early. Referee wasn't positioned.
You catch what she was doing? Change up for Arsenal. Catley will deliver. Oh, and it's won well, and just on the top of the net. Ruben Moy again, the chance from a corner.
Yeah, really good delivery from Catley. The only thing is Ruben Moy is coming away from goal and trying to head it back towards goal, so to get any sort of momentum and pace on the ball would be difficult. But a really good delivery from Catley.
Lehmann gets there first. It's McLaughlin. It's converged upon. Arsenal have it back, aggressive, and winning the ball back, the Gunners. Need with the layoff for Maritz. There's Velty. Well won by Lehmann. As for Arsenal, Farah, they don't win the title. Will go down as a very disappointing season, given how it started, and sure they will look to back Jonas Eidevall next season. A couple of question marks over players like Leah Williamson, Vivian Miedemar. They want to keep hold of these top players as well.
Yeah, look, I think if they come away with nothing this season, it'll certainly go down as a disappointing season for Arsenal. As I mentioned earlier, you know, they started the season so well and everybody picked them to be favourites to win. You just see Miedemar getting fouled here in the middle of the park, but everybody picked Arsenal to do really well this season, and I don't know what it is, whether it's a mentality or, you know, maybe injuries that they had throughout the season and they lost a little bit of momentum, but they had a massive gap at the top of the league ahead of Chelsea, and they seem to, you know, let that gap slip quite easily. And, you know, for an Arsenal team that have this calibre of players, should be competing on all fronts, and they just haven't done this season.
Kim Little gets the cross in towards Mead, over the bar, took it on the volley. Really good play from captain Kim Little.
Yeah, really good take there from Kim Little, and she just takes it and finds a pass. Beautiful cross with her left foot, and Beth Mead finds herself just inside the box. A difficult volley here to execute, but does well to get any sort of connection on it, and it goes over the crossbar.
Sian Rogers down, the Aston Villa goalkeeper. Not entirely sure what happened here, but I think she's indicating that she may have been caught.
Yeah, it looks as if she's been whacked in her neck. I'm sure she'll be okay. It gives her team a chance to go over and get some information and maybe some change in tactics from Aston Villa to help them a little bit going forward.
Seeing some detailed advice being given by Carla Ward. And she had some really nice words about Anita Asante as well in the build-up to this game, saying that she doesn't feel like she's got the credit she deserves all the time. She's one of the best human beings she has ever worked with.
Beautiful words. But yeah, look, Anita is a fantastic human being, first and foremost. You know, one of the nicest people out there in the game. But as a footballer and somebody that had, you know, lucky and fortunate to play alongside of for England for many of years, was an unbelievable player. And, you know, her biggest compliment for Anita can be is that she made players around her look good, and that just shows the player that she is and how good she was. And look, if she was playing, you know, because Anita for me is the modern day centre half, and she was playing that 10, 15 years ago, you know, driving out from the back, really composed on the ball, finding forward passes. And now we have defenders playing that style of play, and so she probably played in the wrong era in terms of what, you know, her attributes are, but she's a fantastic player and a great leader.
Whatever she decides to do next, I'm sure she'll excel, and won't be the last you hear of her. It was well dealt with by Leah Williamson. Gielnik running through the middle. Here's McCabe. Malin gets it back. Picked up by Blinkiller. It's probably the longest in the match that Aston Villa have actually kept the ball so far.
Yeah, but they need to, look, they need to rest in possession. What they haven't got, Aston Villa, is enough quality in possession of the ball, and so it transitions a lot, and then Arsenal have the ball for long periods, and it's really difficult. You know, mentally it's really difficult more than anything. You know, I know people say physically, but it's the mental side of the game. When you haven't got the ball for long periods, it's really difficult.
Ford around the goalkeeper, has come very far out. Tries to find Mead. Maritz, just wide. Maybe a bit rash from the goalkeeper there. Aston Villa survive.
Look, I think if she committed to it, I think she would have probably given a penalty away and might have seen herself going off. Anita Asante here was beaten from forward, and I think Rogers does the right thing in the end. It was just a decision from forward and a pass that she played, but a good effort from Maritz, and it just bends wide at the far post. Yeah, I think look, she was too late to the through ball, Rogers was, and Ford takes it round her, but Ford's just a little bit too wide to execute anything on goal.
Marriott yet to score on the WSL. Just a couple of goals in the FA Cup nearly a year ago. It's Corsi. Ruben White is there ahead of Gilnick. Arsenal start again. Boyle with the flick on. You can see that break. It's given Aston Villa time to maybe, they've just pushed up a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, they've tried to. I think they've needed to do that. They need to put a little bit more pressure on, you know, the Arsenal centre-halves and certainly Volti, who's travelling out with the ball. But it's just when they do a turnover. So like here, they need quality now on the ball, and they haven't been able to find it. And then these transitions really kill them. You see here, they turn the ball over in the middle of the park, and then Arsenal were just straight on the attack. Just a misplaced pass there from Meadow Park. But normally Arsenal have been playing with such quality in those transition moments and really put the pressure on Aston Villa.
Midweek action for you. BBC 2 Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The North London derby live from the Emirates Stadium. Should be an absolute cracker. And then next Sunday, not absolutely sure where we'll be yet, but we'll bring you the final round of the Women's Super League. Next Sunday, we start at 11:45 on BBC 2. Laura Blinkiller, 18 years old. 4 WSL starts in a row now for her. A show of faith in a younger generation from Carla Ward.
Look, they're safe, Aston Villa, in the league, so it's an opportunity for Aston Villa and Carla Ward to give these young players, you know, a taste of what it takes to play in this league. And, you know, no better time than to do it now that they're secure and they're staying in WSL 1 for next season. And look, it'll just give these young players an opportunity to play against some of the best players, but also make them realise what it takes to play at this level.
It's Pacheco. He's played every single minute of the WSL this season. Gilnick gets there first, but loose ball falls for Velti, and now Little onto Beth Mead. For the early cross, well defended by Corsi. Gilnick just a little bit isolated. They find her, but she can't find a teammate.
Yeah, but that needs to stick there. She's a big, strong striker, Gilnick, and when the balls are played, the delivery, the dink ball into her from Corsi was actually weighted really nicely for her to just cushion it and hold and allow players to come into the game. But she just allowed Leah Williamson to step into her. She has to be stronger. She has to use her body more.
Williamson just over the head of Miedemar. Promising pairing at centre-back for Arsenal, Leah Williamson and also Ruben Moy.
Yeah, both really good young centre-halves. You know, really big futures for both of them.
Miedemar finds Mead. Little, Aston Villa back. Low block. Mead away from the challenge. And a good save onto the crossbar.
She does really well here. Leah Williamson just leaves the ball into an area for Beth Mead to come off of the back line into the pocket and, you know, swivels past the defender and gets a strike away with the left foot. It's a really good save from Rogers onto the crossbar. Looked like it was flying into the top corner.
Still 10 minutes to go until half-time. corner. The referee, Lisa Ben's, not very happy with where Kim Little is positioned.
She's just standing in front of Rogers here. You can just see, I don't think she's doing anything.
Catley. I think Rogers did get a hand to that. It's Velty. Trying to go away from McLaughlin, who does well. Villa trying to play out. They're trying to get it out. They weren't allowed to.
I think that's their problem, Aston Villa. They work so hard to win the ball back, and then it's the next phase after that they don't seem to have a pass to play out. They haven't got a teammate that's close by, you know, to lend the ball and, you know, progress the ball up the pitch. That's an example of Gilnick, a long ball from Rogers, and she's not got any defenders around her. She needs to be taking that ball out of the air and allowing, you know, her teammates to get involved in play. But she's looking to play off one touch far too many times.
Lehman trying to make some progress for Villa. Can't prevent the clearance. Caitlin Ford trying to put the Villa backline under pressure. Corsi did just enough, and a good long clearance from Rogers, the goalkeeper. Velty. McCabe into Miedemar with the body swerve. It's well won back by Blinkiller. Receives it back from Gilnick. And Villa win a free kick. Blinkiller swiped at. Much better from Villa.
Spoke too soon there, Robin.
Typical. Just can't take advantage of the opportunities that they create for themselves.
Just don't, you know, you can see Corsi here and Asante trying to find a pass out. They just don't have a link through midfield, and so they're having to go long. The problem is Gilnick isn't able to hold it up, and Leah Williamson just steps in every single time with those long balls. So they're just turning the ball over.
It'll be interesting to see if Gilnick is still here next season. Well travelled. Clubs all around the world: Sweden, Australia, Germany, Norway, Japan.
Not sure she's had the impact Aston Villa would have liked. The reason why they brought her in, get goals, I'm not sure she's been able to do that. But maybe it's the first season in the WSL, and it's difficult to adapt.
Blinkiller's shown some good touches. Now here's Mailing, another number of former Birmingham players in this Aston Villa team.
I actually think Blinkiller will be better, more central, just behind Gilnick. She's got a lot of energy, and she probably can get in advance of her, you know, for flick-ons, and, you know, certainly try and at least press Ruben Moy and Leah Williamson. She's got a lot of energy in there, and I think maybe more central she'd be better rather than out on the wing.
Really good play from Anita Asante. Lehman, a casual foot by Leah Williamson, and Arsenal are on their way once again. Rogers came, and now she's retreating. Here's Mead, teeing up Miedemar, really good save. And gathers at the second attempt. Another top stop from Sian Rogers to deny Miedemar a first half hat-trick.
I mean, the pass from Kim Little here, fantastic ball. Splits the fullback and centre half, and Beth Mead gets onto it. Rodgers a little bit indecisive in her decision and backs off towards goal, and a little cut back here from Mead to Meadow, and a really good save from Rodgers. Really good cut back from Mead there. This is just the second phase of it, where Rodgers gathers the ball.
Villa trying to put the pressure on a bit higher up the pitch, but Arsenal confident when under pressure and work their way out. Catley goes for the early ball in towards Ford. The offside flag is up. Into the final 5 minutes here. After a pretty careless first opening 15-20 minutes or so. Villa finally offering something a little bit more at least. A touch from Ruben Boy applauded by some of the Arsenal crowd. Here is Miedemar. McCabe.
Arsenal just playing the half out, aren't they? They're just keeping the ball nicely. Aston Villa don't really want to jump out and press them. They're just quite comfortable, you know, keeping possession of the ball.
Williamson to Miedemar. Mead. Good movement from Miedemar. Good foot in on McLaughlin. Gilnick again can't get away from Ruben Moy. A shot. Yeah, that took out our own player. Fierce drive from Katie McCabe.
Anywhere within range for Katie McCabe, she's always going to get it out of her foot onto that left peg and hit one, and she'll be fuming her teammate Ford got in the way of that one. Yeah, one thought in Katie McCabe's head when she picked up the ball in that pocket there was to strike at goal.
Can't believe Ford stayed on her feet after the impact of that.
She done well, didn't she? Maybe Aston Villa defenders will be thankful for that.
I'd be asking where my mum is if that was me.
That's why you're up here and not down there.
Exactly.
Too easy for Kim Little here, just driving through the middle of the park.
No one engaging. Pops it off for Miedemar, and now Beth Mead, lovely feet. Onto Miedemar, a little bit too intricate.
Yeah, doing a little bit too much there, but, you know, Carla Ward, I mean, her defenders, you can't allow for strikers to just walk inside the box. And look at the pace Meaden were playing at. It's so slow, and they're just able to walk around these Aston Villa defenders. It's not good enough from Aston Villa.
Final minute of normal time of the first half. Here's Mead. Went for the Hollywood pass. 2 minutes of time added on at the end of the first half. Not sure he's going to have to say too much at half-time, Jonas Eidevall.
I think he'd be happy with the first half performance. It looks as though the players, most importantly, are enjoying this game, enjoying having a lot of the ball and, creating lots of opportunities.
Free kick for Villa. Final opportunity to create a chance before the half-time whistle goes. Haven't shown anything from these set pieces yet. They haven't had too many of these situations yet either, but a few good targets to aim for. It's Mailing. And McCabe gets first contact. Back in by McLaughlin, and then Asante. Corsi. Arsenal making a bit of a meal of this. Bit of head tennis, and then Petzelberger closed down by McCabe, but now Arsenal can spring on the counter. Mead onto Miedemar. A free run at goal. It's Vivian Miedemar. Another excellent stop from Rogers. Miedemar went for power, and Rogers stood her ground.
And this is where Arsenal was so dangerous. If Aston Villa were going to commit players like that, it's the counter-attack. And you just see here, Miedemar just steps up the pace and drives towards goal. It's a good save from Rogers, but I think the strike from Miedemar was, straight at Rogers. So it was an easy save, but one that she had to make.
So apart from the first goal, she's looked very solid in her shot stopping, at least, Rogers. And they just want to keep this one out. Sante wins the header. It's going to be another corner kick.
They've been a threat, Arsenal, from set pieces. They put the ball into really good areas.
And not enough time to take the corner. A breeze the first half for the most part for Arsenal. A double from Vivian Miedemar. She could have had more. Just what Jonas Eidevall would have wanted, Farah.
Yeah, look, Vivian Miedemar for me has been, the best player on the park. I think she's just going through the gears. She's not even reached top gear yet. It's the way she plays the game. She plays it so smoothly. She's picked up some really nice pockets between, the units that I spoke about, the back four and the midfield five. She's picked up some really good pockets in there, and yeah, she's been a threat all game. We spoke about the shot she had in the first 8 minutes of the game, and could she have done better? Well, she did minutes later with her strike from the edge of the box, and seen herself going at the half 2-0 up and 2 goals.
A stroll in Meadow Park for Arsenal. They're doing what they have to do to keep the title race alive. Half-time, Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0.
Farah Williams and Robin Cowan, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I guess, when you look at the pressure that they were under going into this one, this is sort of the ideal game for Arsenal, isn't it? To get that confidence back, to get those goals in, and to hopefully set themselves on course for a victory.
This is what has made Arsenal a title contender, is that flowing movement, those synchronised moves, the long balls or direct balls from Leah Williamson, Miedemar finding herself in those pockets of space, Kim Little being influential in midfield, all of those things that click and have put them in this position.
Yeah, it certainly has, hasn't it? And Jonas Eidevall, what do you think his assessment will be after that first half?
I think he'd be very happy with that. A nice early goal, I think in 9 minutes. They look calm, they look composed, they're playing the ball from left to right. Miedemar, for me, has been the player to go to. She's finding pockets of space. Beth Mead has been outstanding. It's a very comfortable first half for them. I've been a little bit disappointed with Aston Villa, really not getting anything going, playing through the ranks, can't get it up to the forward. Gilneck, she's not holding it up and allowing the other Aston Villa players to come underneath her. So it's a bit of a disappointing first half for Villa.
For Villa, yeah. They did, in some cases, make it a little bit easy for Arsenal. But you mentioned Vivian Miedemar, both of you have, and how can we not? She is the woman of the moment, certainly in this game at the moment. As you say, an early goal for her as well. She missed a chance seconds earlier, but she did get on the score sheet finally. But yeah, it only took 9 minutes.
Yeah, she did. You see a great ball in there by Leah Williamson, a little layoff. And I think Sian Rogers will be disappointed with that. She just parries it. Rachel Brown's the professional goalkeeper, but she's just been finding these pockets of space here. It's a great layoff, one touch by Beth Mead, and she just uses, the power on the pace of the ball. And Sian Rogers will be very unhappy with that, Brownie.
That gap between the defensive line of Villa and the midfield line, that's where Meadow is picking the ball up and just being allowed to turn. No one stepping in to pick her up. It's difficult for defenders, but ultimately Sharon Rogers should have saved that. But we'll see some clips in a minute where she reels it back for her team, makes some excellent saves.
Yeah, indeed. But we're going to see 2-0 now and we're getting if it's not raining, it's the sprinklers over here, by the way, at Boreham Wood. But just to see the 2-0 there as well for Vivianne Miedema as well.
It's almost a carbon copy of the chance that she had earlier, picking that ball up. A player drops in off of the front line, picks the ball up into that 10 position, turns, slipped in, and a strike all the way across. I mean, it's beautiful build-up. The ball in from Leah Williamson here, and where Kel talked about Miedema in that really key position. She does it well for the Netherlands. She does it brilliantly for Arsenal, more so this season under Eidevall. But that strike is absolutely world-class.
Just poor defending here by Villa, though. McLaughlin's not even picking up. She's following Kim Little running in. Rachel Corsy's got Kim Little. She's just a little bit naive in her defending then. Should have approached the ball instead of running with Kim. But
yes.
Brilliant strike. Viv used the players in front of her as a shield, so Sharon Rogers couldn't see the strike.
Yeah, 17-year-old McLaughlin from Aston Villa was tracking, as Kelly said. And as a goalkeeper, you want someone to address the ball.
Indeed.
That didn't happen, and it allowed the quality to show.
Is there a bit of a lack of concentration then for the Aston Villa defenders, or is it just that they were caught so quickly by Arsenal?
It's a combination of two. You're playing up against some of the best forward players in the world, midfield players in the world. You know, arguably, England captain, centre-half, who's distributing the ball from defensive third to final third. It's hard to consider all of those things in a split second and make sure you're in the right position for all of those. You want a goalkeeper behind who's organising centrally. If you've got young defensive midfielders who don't play week in, week out. They've had to make changes as well today, Carla Ward's team. They regrouped. There's a point where Sharon Rogers went down, tactical goalkeeper went down, gave the team a chance to come to the sidelines, regroup. And what Carla Ward did well was, with Gielnik up top, was isolated. There was no pressure on the centre halves of Arsenal. They brought in Shani Boy-Halorka off of the left to put two up top, and that stopped Arsenal getting out quite as easily.
Yeah, but before that, I mean, Miedema had been running them pretty ragged, hadn't she? She was just finding those pockets of space, wasn't she?
That's what she does great. You know, she's used to playing as a 9, but with Bastina coming in, she just finds the space here, drives, great ball in. But obviously it doesn't come off here. But this is why she's world class. Sometimes you don't have to move in these positions. You just stand and watch the game evolve around you. It's a great ball in, but she's at the heart of every Arsenal attack, and that's what you want from such a classy, smooth player. You know, she oozes class when she gets on the pitch. She makes things happen. Brilliant player.
Yeah, she uses it on and off the pitch, actually, doesn't she? We talked about the Aston Villa goalkeeper, Sharon Rogers, an academy product here at Arsenal, in fact, and she did have to, be called into action time and time again. But she did well on certain occasions, didn't she?
Yeah, I think Aston Villa and Sharon Rogers would have expected to have a busy afternoon, and she started the season, didn't have a great start to the season. Hannah Hampton came in and has played the majority of the season for Aston Villa. But after that early mistake, which led to the first goal from Miedema, she did redeem a save and make some excellent saves. Frustrating Miedema to a degree, reacting first save, second save. That first one off of Beth Mead, where Beth Mead beautifully turns and left foot turns it over the bar. Excellent save. Here she gets her angles really, really well, goes down the line of the ball, so makes the goal look small, saves it with her feet. So she's made up for her errors.
Yeah, she certainly has. But here at Boreham Wood, it is currently Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0. The WSL action, though, kicked off on Saturday at the Academy Stadium as Manchester City on a run of 5 consecutive victories and closing in on that European spot, hosted Brighton. Your commentary team for that one, well, it was just one commentator. It was Ben Andrews.
Driving through that Brighton midfield and finding Bunny Shaw. No flag, opening goal. That didn't take long, did it? Not even 3 minutes played. City 1 up. Clinical finish for Bunny Shaw. Pouring forward constantly here as Weir tries to put it across, and does put it across everyone. Bronze for Shaw. She's got another one. But they look like they're going to score every time they come forward, Manchester City here. And I think you'd say 2 goals in 12 minutes is the least they deserve, incredibly. Greenwood into Weir. Brighton just haven't got a response at the moment. Hemp Clipping it in. Shaw for the hat-trick. Good save from Walsh. Doesn't matter, though. Caroline Weir's there. We've played 15 minutes. The Man City are 3-0 up already. Lee, Brighton inside the City box for the first time today, and that's a penalty. Certainly caught the boot of Lee, and maybe not the ball. Needless. And they barely had a kick. But Anissa Kugman has got one here, and she's buried it. And out of nothing, it's 3-1. Good penalty. That's a well-timed run by Lee. She's onside here. In towards Ziggiotti. Well, where has this come from? Right on half-time, it's 3-2. Extraordinary. They've literally been in the City box twice, and they've scored twice. And somehow it's game on. City come on the counter here. Kira Walsh. Oh, Bunny Shaw for the hat-trick. She's got it. It's 4-2 now, and Bunny Shaw has bagged 3 of them. It is another defensive lapse, though, from Brighton. City are good enough without the help, it has to be said. Hemp past Kuhlberg yet again. Shaw, 5-2. Shaw's got 4 of them, and it's another 3-goal lead for the rampant Manchester City. Oh, free header, Alex Greenwood. That's unforgivable from Brighton. For the second time this season, City have scored 6 against them. Where Hemp has got there ahead of Letitia. Lauren Hemp is 7. 2 in a minute. Tight angle, no problem. Manchester City 7, Brighton and Hove Albion 2.
It's a confirmation of the latest results and fixtures in the WSL, as we just saw there. A huge victory, Manchester City 7, Brighton 2 yesterday. There are 5 WSL fixtures taking place today. It's full time as Manchester United beat West Ham by 3-0. We're into the second half of Leicester against Reading. It's currently goalless over there. Half-time here at Boreham Wood, of course. Arsenal lead Aston Villa by 2-0. Birmingham City kick off against Chelsea at 7:45. And at 7:30, Tottenham are away to Everton. So in that hunt for that elusive third spot, that elusive Champions League position, Rachel, it is between the two Manchester clubs. United have gone ahead of Manchester City today with that victory, but City are the ones with the game in hand. They've won 11 games in a row. Will momentum count, or will points on the board count?
Momentum, 100%. Not just momentum, but the fact that it's Manchester City back to their best. It's Manchester City finally understanding what Gareth Taylor wants from them and being able to apply that and do it successfully on the pitch. They look unstoppable at the moment. They're in great form, and with that game in hand, I fully expect them to finish up in third in that final Champions League position.
Well, it is all still to play for that final position, as it is for the league title as well. We're going to head a little bit further down pitch side now to find out a little bit more about the weekend's fixtures. Jeanette Quache is joined by Sandra Brobby of The Sun.
Thanks a lot, Reshmin. Of course, yes, Sandra alongside me here. And to say the title race, it is super, super tight. Chelsea had travelled to Birmingham. They cannot drop any points. Similar to Arsenal here, they're really on it, Sandra. How important is that game for Chelsea later?
Well, they have to. It's a must-win, basically. You know, it really is a must-win game for them. And, I mean, they've done well against Birmingham in their recent games. I know Sam Kerr scored hat-tricks, and they crushed them 5-0 in the FA Cup quarter-final. So I think they'll literally be going in there all guns blazing.
And Ji Soyun is leaving Chelsea at the end of the season. So impactful in what she's been able to do there. 11 league titles with that club. 11 titles, I should say. 5 league titles here, WSL titles. How impactful has she been for the club?
Well, she's been, some fans and some commentators have talked about her being perhaps one of the best overseas players to play in the WSL, if not the best. And she's put in so many match-winning, game-changing, trophy-winning performances, like, for example, when she scored that goal in Chelsea's first FA Cup win back in 2015. So she's been a player who's made a major impact on the WSL, on football in general in this country. So it's a huge loss to the league and to Chelsea.
And we speak about another player that's leaving, of course, it is Tobin Heath. She leaves Arsenal on mutual consent, of course, with the club after injury. She heads back to the States. How impactful has she been for this club here as an American player coming over to the UK?
Well, ahead of today's game, Jonas Ivel talked about how she thrived in adversity in terms of, helping Arsenal to bounce back from difficult situations, like when she got that equaliser against Manchester City. So, she has made that impact, got them a crucial point, helping them to this point here. So she's someone who apparently is very popular within the squad in terms of building morale within the team. So, yeah, she's made a great difference.
Well, thank you, Sandra, very much. Reshmin, I hand back to you.
Thank you very much, Jeanette and Sandra. It's a lovely atmosphere here. Look at that little one here supporting Arsenal. It's a great atmosphere, I have to say. Almost a full house. And why wouldn't there be? Always an expectant crowd here at Boreham Wood. And as always, there is plenty coming up on the BBC throughout the week, including this.
It's more than football.
She's going to be buzzing watching this.
It's the culture, the music, the passion.
Can we get that on camera?
And the biggest names in the Premier League.
Don't take it serious at the end of the day.
MOTDX on BBC Three and iPlayer.
Yeah, you can catch Jermaine Genius and special guests for your fix of football, music and culture, of course. Later tonight, you can catch all the highlights from the weekend's WSL fixtures with Jeanette on the Women's Football Show. That is on BBC One at 11:35. Now, next Wednesday, we have a North London derby to look forward to as Arsenal take on Tottenham at the Emirates. All the build-up will be with myself at 7 o'clock on BBC Two. On BBC Sounds, you can listen to Jill Scott's Coffee Club for an intimate glimpse into the women's game with the England legend, Five Live's Ben Haynes, and very special guest. That's definitely a good listen. Make sure you join us for the last day of the WSL season. On Sunday, we will have one of the key games in that title run-in, and we will show you that trophy being lifted. We'll be live on BBC Two next Sunday at 11:45 in the morning. And before we head back to the second half of Arsenal against Aston Villa, let's get a recap of what happened in the first.
Into the final week of the Women's Super League season, and it is all about Arsenal. They need to keep on winning, and that's all they need to think about. Meadow too strong for Rodgers. Meadow too much time, too much space, and that is the outcome. Around the goalkeeper has come very far out. Away from the challenge, and a good save onto the crossbar. Meadow went for power. Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0.
Where Arsenal are certainly in the driving seat here at Boreham Wood, thanks to that woman, Vivianne Miedema. They are the first team out as well, back onto the pitch as we begin to kick off for the second half. So with that, it's time to hand you back to our commentary team, the former Reading and England midfielder, Farah Williams, who's alongside Robin Cowan.
Thank you, Reshmin. Be interesting to see how Aston Villa approach the second half. Farah. Sort of grew into it a little bit more, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They made a few adjustments when Sian Rodgers went down injured, and we heard Kelly Smith talk about it there at the half, that they just to try and get somebody a little bit closer to Gilnick up front, and certainly when the balls were going forward, they didn't leave her isolated. So hopefully in this second half, they'll commit a little bit more bodies forward and hopefully make a game of it.
Kim Little wins the header. Ball straight for Miedema. Good defending from Aston Villa to prevent the shot. Here is Miedema. And now Mead. I think Jonas Eidevall won't want them to take the foot off the gas.
No, definitely not. Look, goal difference could play a part if they're to get anywhere near. If Manchester United take a point of Chelsea at the end of the season, goal difference will play a huge part.
Good play from Blinkiller. Lehman crowded out. A few shouts of handball, but Lisa Ben lets play go on. Meg's pass from Corsi. An awkward one for the goalkeeper, who's done well with that. Arsenal win it back high up the pitch. It's Blinkiller who brings it away.
It's really difficult for Aston Villa and McLaughlin in particular, sitting in front of that back four. When Aston Villa are trying to build and play out, she's so vulnerable inside there. She's inexperienced. She can't really get herself on the ball, and she's turning the ball over a lot of times. It's, you know, her teammates are putting her in difficult, you know, situations, but they need a player in there that is, you know, character to take passes.
Catley, Miedemar had made the run, cleared up by Santi. Lehman goes down. I think McCabe indicating that may have been a dive. The referee's given it Arsenal's way, Aston Villa's way, I should say.
There's certainly a slight touch there from Katie, but not much in it for the movement from Lehman, but a free kick's a free kick.
Before today, Arsenal won the last 5 in the WSL, scoring 19 goals in the process, at least 3 in each of those games. Certainly on course to extend that particular run today. Miedemar with a brace. Mead slips it through for McCabe. Ford, another one disallowed. Looked like a handball in the build-up.
Yeah, it looked as if the ball ricocheted up onto Ford's hand, but I thought Katie McCabe, it was a fantastic through ball from Beth Mead. It's through to Katie McCabe, and I actually thought you could see it here. Mead originally gets the pass in between, and as Beth Mead follows her pass and manages to get the ball and plays a beautiful through ball to Katie McCabe, who I thought was actually going to hit it off her left foot. Does the unselfish thing and plays it across the forward, but it ricochets and comes up onto the hand before, you know, she puts it in the back of the net.
It's twice she's been denied a goal. Caitlin Ford, first half from an offside, second half from that handball. We found her playing time limited at the start of the season with the signings of Nikita Paris, Tobin Heap, Blackstenius as well, but Caitlin Ford has emerged as the starter, that front three. Last few games anyway, scored against Everton. An attempt at last from Aston Villa, and well wide.
It's difficult when you have so many, you know, really good attacking players. I mean, you can see the likes of Nikita Paris on the bench as well, and you know, she's a fantastic talent and can't find her way into this team. We saw Tobin Heath, Iwabuchi, so there's a lot of players in this team. It's trying to find the balance, and obviously Ford's been patient with that, and when given opportunity, she's actually performed really well for this Arsenal team.
Here is Maritz, Swiss international. Lovely turn. Kim Little plays it off for Miedemar. Now McCabe puts her foot through it. Again, straight at the goalkeeper. Rogers makes her first save of the second half. Arsenal racking up the chances and not taking them. This could have been a lot worse for Villa. Free kick. Caitlin Ford caught.
Took it early.
Arsenal take it quickly. Here's Catley. Space to measure the cross. Defended well. Miedemar finds Mead. Miedemar on the turn. Off the bar and in. That's going to go down as his own goal from Rachel Corsi. A third goal for Arsenal. Meadow heavily involved, but don't think that's going to go down as a hat-trick just yet.
I'm sure she'll get a hat-trick before the end of the afternoon, but you know what's been so exciting this afternoon for Arsenal? The link-up play between Beth Mead and Meadow. You can see here, Meadow gets it, just pokes it to Mead, and Mead just finds Meadow getting in between the lines. It's fantastic play, and she just swivels away from the defender, sits the defender down before striking with her left foot. It ricochets off the crossbar onto Corsi, who I'm sure she would have preferred it going straight in for Meadow rather than an own goal, but Meadham's feet inside the box. She just shifts her body, and the balance that she has is unbelievable. It's a great strike off her left foot and puts her team 3-0 ahead.
Unfortunate for Corsi. She thundered off the bar. Not much you could do about that. Meadow enjoying herself. It just looks like it all comes so naturally to her.
It does. No, there's definitely, look, she obviously puts the hard grass in, and you can see that, and that's why the game looks so easy for her.
Forward court again. Petzelberger, the culprit this time. Booking for the German.
You can see Ford here just gets away from Pitzelsberger, and you know, she gives the free kick away.
Maritz. Boyd-Lorca getting back. So Arsenal will close the gap to Chelsea once again to a single point. Chelsea play Birmingham later on, 6:45 kickoff. St Andrews. Big game for Birmingham, of course, as well. And they play Aston Villa on the final day of the season. Great ball once again. Miedemar off Mailing, another corner. Shania Hales getting ready for Aston Villa. Beth Mead with the deep cross, and really good effort. Side-footed though, over the bar, Leah Velti. Unmarked.
Again unmarked, a good delivery, and you can see Volti just pulls away at the back post. I actually thought she was going to go with her head. She tries to guide it towards goal on the volley with her left foot, and it just goes on top of the crossbar and over.
Here's Shania Hales. Capped for Jamaica. 22 years old. Substitute appearance.
She'll bring a lot of energy up front for Aston Villa.
Alicia Lehman, the player to come off.
Yeah, Alicia Lehman doesn't look happy. I mean, you're never happy when you come off, but it's a frustrating game, and not a game where Lehman had much of the ball to be able to do what she's good at, and that's dribble at, you know, fullback. So it's probably not a game for Lehman.
Beautiful ball from Velti. A little bit too much on that for McCabe. She robs Mailing. Catley. McCabe, a little flick for Ford, deflection over the bar. I think that was heading on target, but for Santi's intervention.
Yeah, good little flick, and it goes through the leg of the defender, and Ford strikes. You can see what Ford's trying to do. She's trying to bend it round to the far post, and Asante gets in the way, and it goes over the crossbar.
Mead. Wide. Leah Williamson who got contact there.
Again, another good delivery from Mead. Not sure if that went off Corsi or Leah Williamson, but the referee's given a goal kick.
Arsenal win it back. Miedemar trying to slip it through. Concedes a free kick. Continue to plough on. She said, just don't look like they're getting out of first gear.
No, they've controlled much of the game. 60 minutes in now, and they've pretty much controlled all of it. They'll be disappointed they haven't got a goal from a set piece yet, though, because the set pieces, deliveries have been fantastic on both sides, from Catley and Beth Mead.
Mead. Williamson in retreats. Couldn't direct it on target.
Another good delivery in from Mead, and I think the difficulty is that Arsenal are starting so close to the goal line, and when the deliveries are coming in, they're working away from goal to then execute the header back towards goal. So it's a difficult header to execute. But they certainly should have done, certainly more with the corner that they've had.
Nailing as well to wriggle away from McCabe. Here's Gilnick. McLaughlin. Little gets there and finds McCabe. Mead takes aim. Oh! That is a stunner! Absolutely brilliant from Beth Mead, who draws up her 10th WSL goal of the season in style.
It's fantastic. It's McCabe that finds Beth Mead just in the pocket, and just the way she hits across the ball, it's always bending away from goal. We see here the gaps between the midfield and the defenders of Aston Villa. Beth Mead just picks it up and strikes with the outside of her foot, striking across the ball, and it just takes it away from the goalkeeper, and Rodgers has no chance with that one. Nothing more than what Arsenal and Beth Mead for this game and the performance that they've deserved.
Here caps another really good performance with a goal from Beth Mead. And Arsenal make their first substitution with Blackstenius onto the field. Katie McCabe.
Just what you want to see when you go 4-0 down. Blackstenius coming into the game and McCabe coming off.
It's a different problem for Aston Villa to contend with. Like it was at Villa Park earlier in the season, it's 4-0. Still a lot of time to go for Arsenal to add to that.
And I actually think they can add a lot more, Arsenal, if they wanted to. If they wanted to up the gears, look, they probably haven't come out of third gear yet, and you know, they've been really effective with that. If they was to up the gears, you can see more goals.
There's Blackstenius. Touch just took her away from goal. Velty, now Little. Meadow Park dispossessed. Well by McLaughlin. Now Petzelberger. Santi to Blinkiller. Good crisp passing move this from Aston Villa. Petzelberger scuffed the pass somewhat. And easy for Wubben-Moy to clear up. Haven't seen that enough.
No, that was a good little spell for Aston Villa, but it's the final pass, you know, that lets them down, and we've just seen it there. They possess the ball for a little period, and then it gets into the final third, and you're hopeful of something, and yeah, the quality lets them down.
Catley onto Ford. There's Sante. What a touch on that. Flag is up. Offside decision. Another flowing Arsenal move.
It's a tight one there. I mean, good running from Ford. She just sees the ball go out to Catley and makes a third player run off that, and slightly offside, but really good running. I'd like to see Jordan Nobbs and Nikita Paris just get some minutes in this Arsenal team, especially going into this summer's Euros. You know, I'm hopeful they'll both be selected, but I know that it goes down to minutes played, and you know, I'd love for them to get some minutes today and, you know, in the next couple of games that they've got, Arsenal.
Well, you saw he may have thrown a spanner in the works. Fran Kirby, who we assumed was not going to be available, with a not so subtle tweet that she might be back today for Chelsea, which would be wonderful news. Caitlin Ford. Great ball across the box, picked up by Maritz. Danger not over yet for Villa. Hales loses it. Free kick for Arsenal.
Looked as it. Yeah, I mean, you've seen Beth Mead just gets tripped. She wanted a little rest. She was laying there for a while after the foul, so she just might have needed a little bit of rest, or the hard graft she's done today. She's done a lot of running, Beth Mead.
Usually once or twice a match, she does get absolutely clattered.
She loves it. Gives her airtime on the camera.
She's certainly got a lot of that. See if she can produce something from here. So Catley, who was only Arsenal goal, has come from free kick situation like this in the Champions League earlier on in the season. Catley into the wall. Still scrambled, and it's Miedemar. Closed down by Petzelberger and turned in by Lotte Wubben-Moy. A real mess. Arsenal with their 5th goal of the game, and a very popular goal scorer in Lotte Wubben-Moy.
It's come from the free kick that actually wasn't well executed from Catley. But Leah Williamson, I think it, Blackstenius, sorry, it is. It just strikes it across goal, and Wubben-Moy being in the right place at the right time, you know, smashes it home. And I just love the celebration of Wubben-Moy and what it means to her to score for this Arsenal team. Fantastic finish.
Arsenal fan. She had that great moment at the Emirates when she scored against Wolfsburg. Every goal in a red and white shirt will mean so much to her. The substitution for Aston Villa. Boyle Hawker coming off and Megan Sargent coming on. And it's already quite messy for Aston Villa can't blame Carla Ward for putting on another defender at this stage.
Yeah, they have, but what they've done, they've moved Corsi into the midfield, which is what I felt they needed. They needed a little bit more of experience in that midfield area. McLaughlin was really isolated in there, a little bit of inexperience. You could see that in her play. So I think Corsi's just stepped in there and just given them a little bit more experience, I think, for this remaining 20 minutes of the game.
Again, challenges come in, and the ball once again falls for a red shirt of Arsenal. Here's Wooben Moy. Meadow Park. Through ball. Catley she scored. Again, the offside flag is up. Another goal disallowed for Arsenal.
Slightly offside again. You know, that was a tight one for Catley. Really good running from left to right. Meadow finds her in between the centre halves, and it was a good finish. We need VAR in our game. I'll just put it out there.
Couple of substitutions getting ready. Looks like Nikita Paris on the bench, getting ready to come on. Blackstenius rise the challenge. The goal kick is given. We will see Jordan Nobbs. Interesting quotes from Ada Val coming into this one, saying that she is an important player and she's contracted till next season. I'm not sure how keen she'll be to stay if she doesn't get more minutes.
I think Jordan Nobbs needs to be playing. I think she's still so young, and you can see when she does play, she's lacking a lot of confidence in this team at the minute, and it's not nice for an ex-teammate, a former teammate to see. But look, she's a fantastic player, and once she gets back playing and gets the momentum of games, she's fantastic. And look, she is a big player for any team she plays in.
Villa can't find a way out. Here comes Leah Williamson. Caitlin Ford. Catley on the overlap. Blinkiller. Now Hales. Gilnick inviting Blinkiller forward.
Blinkiller's really grown into the game. When Aston Villa have had the ball, and certainly her in particular when she's been on the ball, she's been really good, really composed, and tried to, link play and make things happen.
It looks like Arsenal are getting ready for a triple substitution. Just an illustration there of the depth in this squad. May not be enough to win a trophy this season, but just shows still the gap between the higher echelons of the league and even the mid-table sides now.
Look, they've got great squad depth, Arsenal. And to bring the likes of those three on as substitutes at, 20 minutes remaining is, horrible for any opposition.
Here's Catley towards the back post. Mead sliding in, couldn't convert. A free kick in a good position.
Could she potentially get a second yellow card for this, pulling the defender back?
That's a very good point.
Just calling the captain over. If we can see from the replay, you can see it. You can see from the replay, she's already on a yellow card, and pulling the shirt of a player is a yellow card offence, so it could be a second yellow. But I think the state of the game, the referee might consider that, but the laws of the game is that it's a yellow card.
She's clearly heard you, Farah, having a word, but I think that might just be it. The captain over as well to say last chance. I think you're absolutely right. I think she's a bit fortunate there, Petzelberger. So a triple substitution for Arsenal. Nikita Parris coming on for Beth Mead. And another excellent game. He's probably scored the pick of the goals. Miedemar is off. No hat-trick for her today. Well, Jordan Nobbs. To remember, they do have this midweek fixture, so maybe Jonas Eidevall has that in mind. Wednesday night against Tottenham Hotspur at the Emirates Stadium. And Lara Wienreuter on for Noel Maritz. So no surprise that some of the starters getting a rest ahead of the final couple of games of the season. A chance for the substitutes to get on the score sheet immediately. It's Catley.
The best of deliveries there from Catley. She's been, really good certainly in the first half with her deliveries from set pieces, but her last two haven't been the best.
Moy on to Parris. Delivers towards Blackstenius. The goalkeeper in a free kick for Villa. It's just one defeat all season in the WSL for Arsenal. Away at Birmingham, the team that are more than likely to get relegated, and that may have cost them first title since 2019.
They'll be absolutely kicking themselves come the end of the season if that's the game that lost them this title. They just didn't turn up that day, and Birmingham were fantastic, and credit to their players that day. It certainly wasn't a result that they didn't deserve.
Gilnick to Hales. Moy there to tidy up. Because apart from that, previous seasons it's been their records against the other title contenders, but this season 4 points against Chelsea, 4 against Manchester City, Manchester United. Very good returns against the other in the top 4, but it's that result. Cross, it's way too close to Williams. Probably nearly been as sedentary as us today. Lydia Williams in the Arsenal goal. Not sure how many steps she's done. Pretty similar to us. Santi. Hales. It's Pacheco. Spell of possession for Aston Villa. Sargent. We will have coverage of the North London derby for you. BBC 2 on Wednesday. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock. And then next Sunday, 11:45 on BBC 2, the final round of fixtures in the Women's Super League. Will it be Arsenal or Chelsea who take the title? We'll be across it for you. Ford. Your Australian international teammate Steph Catley. Nobbs. taking a chance. So here is the table as it stands. And a good afternoon for Arsenal in terms of the result, but also they've made up that goal difference, although Chelsea play later on against Birmingham. So they could see that come away from them as well. See what the result is there at St Andrews later on, 6:45 kickoff.
Yeah, I know, knowing this Chelsea team and Emma Hayes, and they have a fantastic winning mentality, the group of players, how hard they work. I'm sure they're going to want, look, Birmingham are going to try and make it difficult, but I'm sure they're going to want to go there, leave everything on the park, not 90 minutes, and then they've got a week to recover before a big game at at home to Man United. And their fans, the travelling Chelsea fans, the home Chelsea fans have been fantastic for them this season, and could have been a difference for them, I believe.
Little nips in, Nobbs, and now Ford. Too close to Rodgers. Yes, if Chelsea do win tonight, the pressure will be back on Arsenal to get the win against Tottenham on Wednesday night, which is not going to be easy, as we've seen with Spurs this season. In particular, the last 2 games against Chelsea really made them work hard for it.
Yeah, and I think they will again. If you go back to the North London derby earlier in the season, it was a 1-1 draw, and Arsenal were lucky to get themselves back into it with a goal from a set piece, and it was Meadow Park at the time. Tottenham against the top teams have really tried to show how much they've developed as a team, and that they're getting closer. So they're going to want to do that again on Wednesday at the Emirates.
Ford rise the challenge. Nobbs goes down. Got to her feet now. Not entirely sure what happened there.
She's holding her knee. I mean, normally without contact doesn't normally look good, but she was hobbling just before this tackle, moments before this tackle. I seen her when she laid the ball off to Ford inside the box. She hobbled off a little bit and wasn't really much in that, and she's holding her left knee. Let's hope she's okay.
Always worry, especially when Claire has had quite bad injuries in the past. To recover from an ACL.
I think she's done something here, Jordan Nobbs. She can't. She's sat down there in the middle of the park.
This does not look good news. In the meantime, here come Arsenal.
I really hope she's sensible here. If she's hurt, I feel like she needs to make the right decision. She'll try and fight through this because she's missed, major tournaments for injuries, and I'm sure that's playing on her mind a little bit.
She's going to try and carry on clearly, but if that's wise, I'm not sure.
I think she needs to do the sensible thing. I think, she'll only make it worse and, reduce her chances of being selected. I think that's what's playing on her mind, Jordan. Look, she wants to play every minute she can, and she's been so used to playing for so long for this Arsenal team and being a big part of it.
Villa get the corner away. Hales trying to make some ground. To the final 10 minutes. Here is Williamson. Arsenal getting ready for their final substitution.
I think, yeah, look, she's gone down again, Jordan. Look, you can see, really sad.
There is Blackstenius in behind. Assessing her options. That's a brilliant finish from Stina Blackstenius. Outside of the right boot from a very tight angle. Her first goal after a barren spell of 5 games. 6-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, look, this is a long ball in behind, and Blackstenius uses her speed in behind and drives into the box. It's a fantastic, she looks as if she's actually going to play a cutback and then sees the keeper and plays it through the keeper's legs to the far post. A fantastic finish. We can see here again, look, she's shaping up to play a ball across the box and puts it in the back of the net, but Jordan Nobbs is down in the middle of the park as the goal was taking place, and really sad to see her down on the floor. And you know, this looks serious, this, with Jordan, because, you know, knowing the person and player that she is, she doesn't go down for nothing. So the teammates around her, and, you know, hopefully it's nothing too serious. But
she's just had no luck over the last few years. Missed the World Cup.
you can see the scars there on her legs from previous ACL injuries that she's had.
Let's just hope that this is precautionary and that the news isn't what we fear.
Substitution for Arsenal, replacing number 8, Jordan Nobbs.
So Jordan Nobbs is off. You can hear the reception around Meadow Park. Just wonder if this could be a farewell. They do play at the Emirates midweek, and then away at West Ham on the final day. Her future not certain at this club, the club that she loves, the club that she's been with for so long. Difficult to watch. A magnificent player who just can't catch a break at the moment.
Yeah, really sad. Look, you see her teammates, Beth Mead and Jennifer Beattie, you know, taking her into the dressing room. Not nice pictures there for Jordan Nobbs and Arsenal.
Into the final 5 minutes. Feel it, even though it's an emphatic win, impressive one from Arsenal. Subdued atmosphere now. Arsenal keep on pushing.
You've seen the reactions there from the fans and what Jordan means to them. She's been, you know, a fantastic player. Great effort
Good
there.
save. Turn around the post from Rogers. There was Wienreuter who was sliding in, attempting to make it 7.
Slide. We've seen some crazy goals over the weekend in the men's game, and this was one that was similar. Great save from Rogers, getting down, you know, low into the corner. But going back to Jordan, you see when she come off what she means to this Arsenal team and the fans, and look, they want the very best for her. And it, you know, it was emotional seeing her go off and the way that she had to leave the field. But, you know, let's hope she's okay.
Took a deflection on the way over, Wienreuter, and made it an even better save. The Catley delivery. Approaching the 90th minute, time for Farrell Williams to name her Barclays Player of the Match.
I seem to pick this player all the time, but look, Vivian Miedema, you know, again, a standout performer for Arsenal. It would have been between her and Beth Mead equally, you know, were fantastic, certainly in the first half, but Miedema with the 2 goals and, you know, the third that went down as an own goal, so she's had a fantastic game and, look, set Arsenal on their way to this 6-0 lead and, you know, penalty now, so it could be 7.
It could well be. Nikita Paris was fouled And could this be the moment for her? It's Blinkilla, who's had a good game, but definitely catches Nikita Paris. And she's been waiting for this moment.
Please. Come on, Nikita.
49 WSL goals.
Please.
Her last Women's Super League goal came 3 years ago in April 2019.
We'll see the celebrations here if Nikita scores. You'll see.
From
Just
you.
a relief. Yeah, for me as well. Look, she's a fantastic player. There has been in the WSL for a long period and come back to Arsenal. Probably hasn't worked out for her as much as she'd have liked.
So not exactly a pressure moment in terms of the scoreline, but one that will mean an awful lot to Nikita Paris.
This is not going to help the pressure that now Nikita's going to have. The long delay. She's gone.
Some pushing and shoving between Caitlin Ford and Mailing and Corsi there as well. Well, Jordan Nobbs and Beth Mead joined the 50 club last week. And Nikita Paris joined her Arsenal teammates. This really isn't helping her at all.
I mean, the nice thing for Nikita was that her teammates actually wanted her to take the penalty. They recognised, that Nikita, Kim Little in particular, is still on the pitch and is their named penalty taker.
I think Caitlin Ford will do well here to just leave it.
Trust your teammate that's going to go in the back of the net and you don't need to follow up.
Let her get on with it. Paris tries to refocus. Crowd getting behind her. Paris, it is there. 50 Women's Super League goals for Nikita Paris to round off the perfect afternoon for Arsenal. Beautifully taken, never in doubt.
Absolutely buzzing for Nikita. Look, she deserved this, and there was a long delay before taking the penalty. What Nikita did really well here was reassess the situation, prepped again, redid her prep, and then was able to just execute the penalty perfectly executed there.
The court officials indicated a minimum of 6 minutes added time. 6 minutes.
6 minutes of time added on. 6 minutes too many from a Villa point of view. Corsi taking a knock. Vivian Miedemar announced as the player of the match, a popular choice. Well done, Farah.
Yeah. Was that my player of the match, or was that the stadium player of the match as well?
I think they trust your judgment.
Please give us a smile, look, come on. There was a bit of a naughty tackle there actually on Corsi in the middle of the park from Ford. I think it was a little bit late and high. See here, Ford loses control of the ball and just slides a little bit late and high and catches Corset.
A yellow card for Caitlin Ford.
I'm not sure why she has to leave the pitch if the player's been booked. Maybe we make our own rules up.
Another very good point.
So you're being punished for being fouled, and now you're a player down when you've got a free kick. I need to look at the rule book. I'm not sure I know them all.
It's a good header from Gilnick. Straight into the arms of Williams. So Arsenal, for now at least, point behind Chelsea, but ahead on goal difference. It is back to Chelsea, how they respond tonight against Birmingham City. We thought that would have been a fairly easy one for Chelsea, but Birmingham, that result against Brighton last time out, shows that it might not be totally confirmed.
Well, definitely not. And with the management team they have there, they're certainly not going to give up this fight easily. So they'll give, you know, all they have until the end of the season. But, you know, for me, I think it's a game too far for them.
And Aston Villa, they haven't been able to put out their strongest team today. Remy Allen's going to be out for quite some time. A leader on and off the pitch.
You've seen today, you know, how much of a miss Remy Allen is for this Aston Villa team. They've lacked discipline in that middle, they've lacked leadership, and they've lacked that energy and grit that they needed against a team like this. So, and that's all of what Remy Allen brings to this team. So they've certainly missed all of that alongside Jill Scott as well.
Do highly recommend Jill Scott's Coffee Club on BBC Sounds. Really good listen. She has a register, Farah, for people who've not visited her coffee shop. Have you been?
I know, I did. I attended this week, and it,
well done.
You know, well overdue. But yeah, I mean, the coffee, if we give it a shout out, box to box, it's a fantastic coffee shop. So yeah, certainly get yourself there and get yourself a coffee.
It's a really good podcast on BBC Sounds, interviewing the Lionesses. Some really good stories. Real whet your appetite ahead of the European Championships, which will be across the BBC this summer. So 2 minutes of stoppage time remaining. A chastening afternoon for Aston Villa. And for Arsenal, Jonas Eidevall. They've done all they can. They've also had 3 goals ruled out. Offsides and handballs, so could have been a bigger scoreline.
It could have, even counting those goals out, the saves that Rodgers has had to pull off today for Aston Villa. You know, she's been fantastic in the net, and I know it's 7-0 now, but she's certainly pulled off some saves and kept her team, you know, the scoreline lower than it is.
Blackstenius, flag is up. And Pacheco was busting a gut to get back as well.
This is a difficult thing when there's an offside and the referee leaves it or the lines person leaves it as long as they can, that, you know, potential injuries can happen from that. You can see it, it's onside. It's onside. Anita Asante's kept her onside, and, you know, for me, the wrong decision from the linesman. But players can get injured when they don't flag early.
Lovely touch from Belty. There it is, full time. Arsenal do what they had to do, and they've done it easily. 7 goals, 2 from Miedemar, an own goal. Beth Mead with a long-range effort. Wubben Moy and a cheeky finish from Stina Blackstenius before Nikita Paris rounds it off with her 50th WSL goal. A bittersweet afternoon, though, at Meadow Park. To the troubling scenes after Jordan Nobbs substituted on and off with an injury. We hope it's not as serious as feared. It is over to Chelsea now to continue this enthralling race for the WSL title. Full time at Meadow Park. Arsenal 7, Aston Villa 0.
Farah Williams and Robin Cowan, thank you very much. I'm joined pitchside by Rachel Brown-Finnis and Kelly Smith. Of course, great scenes here at Arsenal. They had a job to do, and they've done it, Rachel, but it was a masterclass today.
It was. Same again in the second half. Utter dominance, both possession-wise and those flowing moves across that front three. Jonas Eidevall was able to make lots of changes to keep his players fresh for Wednesday and to keep their title hopes alive.
And that is really what it was all about today, Kelly. There was was no room for error. And I suppose against this Aston Villa side, we did say it pre-match that Arsenal were certainly the strongest side and Aston Villa probably weakened today, but they really showed them today what it is to be that top team.
Yeah, they certainly did. They oozed class. They were really good in possession. I thought Beth Mead was outstanding alongside Viv. 5 different goal scorers. Jonas will be very happy that, you know, they're getting consistently different goal scorers in this Arsenal side. But yeah, the Arsenal defence didn't really have much to do. I think Lydia Williams was really quite quiet at the back, didn't have many saves because Arsenal just dominated possession from the front, really good pressing from the front three. And yes, Aston Villa, you know, a young side, you know, they have solidified their stay in this league, so they're building. It's a programme for them, it's progression, but Arsenal were outstanding today to get 7 goals.
They really were outstanding today, 7 goals, but still that point behind Chelsea, who play later today at 6:45. They're away to Birmingham City. What's it like, Rachel, being in that position? I mean, Jonas Odeval will be talking to his players. Certainly he knows what's to come. He'll have his eyes on that game as well, but they are the team playing catch-up now. What's the mentality?
All Arsenal can do is play up against what's in front of them. Want to try and get out with as strong a squad, you know, as full a fit team as possible, and unfortunately that wasn't the case today. The only real dark moment today out of a stunning and glittering sparkling Arsenal performance was the injury of Jordan Nobbs. But other than that, it's about applying the game plan, executing the game plan, getting all 3 points, and really, you know, it was a polished performance. 7 goals without any sort of form of reply. 2 centre halves with only 1 centre forward up top for Aston Villa. It allowed the likes of Lotte Wubben-Moy to be able to step out of that back line. Got a goal as well for her. So goals from lots of different areas of the pitch make Jonas Odeval very happy.
Yeah. OK, well, let's take a look at those goals then. Vivianne Miedema set them off in the first half with 2 of them and 5 in the second half, but it wasn't actually an Arsenal play. In fact, Vivianne Miedema, this was great. This was hitting the back post, and it came off Rachel Corsie. She just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time for this
well,
goal.
Yeah, but what a thunderous strike from that angle, left-footed Viv Miedema to absolutely smash it. And you're right, Rachel Corsie trying to do a bit central, but this one, an absolute peach from distance. Then the goals kept coming.
They did, and you see Lotte Wubben-Moy here, just in the middle of the goal. It's a cross, comes across, and the defender, the Arsenal fan, scores an easy tap in. And then you have Blackstenius here, just coming down here. It's a cheeky little finish, this one. She just sees Sian Rogers just come off her line a little bit, and it's just the outside of the foot, just a little clip, and brilliant creative play.
So much time for that one. She could have got it very wrong. And this one, the impact of bringing on a player like Nikita Parrish, she gets behind. She looks and feels for the contact, earns herself a penalty, and great to see her step up and convert one. She's missed a couple for her country. She'll have been desperate.
It's a 50th goal too, wasn't it?
50th goal today, brilliant. But with club and country at the forefront of her mind, she'll be desperate to get in Serena Wiegmann's squad.
Indeed, we saw that one quickly, by the way, and there was a real delay for that one. Glad she put it in the back of the net in the end. And the other person who'll be happy today will be the Arsenal boss, Jonas Odeval. Here he is speaking to Jeanette Quattru.
Thank you very much, Reshmin. Jonas, a 7-0 scoreline, 5 different scorers. How are you rating today's performance?
I think it's a good performance from us. I think we should have scored more in the first half than we did, but it was important for us that we kept on attacking the whole game and didn't sit back or didn't become lazy or unfocused. So no, I'm happy.
And a word on Jordan Nobbs as well, the injury that we've seen today. Of course, you'll go and assess that, but how much of a devastating blow would that be for her?
Let's wait and see until we assess the injury, and of course we hope that it's nothing serious, but let's wait with until we have assessed it.
And just very quickly, you go to the Emirates in midweek, an exciting one for you, of course, but for the squad moving forward now, how important is it to keep on staying focused ahead of this title race?
Yeah, like I said before, I think it's taking it game by game and being very, very task-oriented, and that we need to continue to do. So now we're really looking forward to playing at the Emirates, looking forward for North London Derby, and that's where we need to put all of our focus to.
Well, congratulations again today. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear from Jonas Odeval there. Happy man, as you can imagine. 2 games left for both Arsenal and Chelsea. Jonas Eidevall will be taking his side to the Emirates, in fact, and we'll be there. I think you and I, alongside Anita Asante, actually, for the North London derby as well. Chelsea, of course, play Birmingham today. And then, of course, we go to the final game of the season where everything will be decided on Sunday. Now, Chelsea will be hosting Manchester United, who, of course, will be a tough proposition because they're chasing that 3rd spot, that European spot as well. And Arsenal are away at West Ham. How do we see these next 2 match days going, Rachel?
Well, first of all, today, Chelsea have to do the business. It was Arsenal who slipped up against Birmingham earlier in the season, so they have got it in their locker to a degree, but, you know, they're fighting right at the very, very bottom, Birmingham. Any kind of result tonight, I mean, would be monumental potentially for Birmingham.
Birmingham are fighting for their lives, aren't they? It's still mathematically possible that they can stay up. So if they can pull off a performance of their life tonight against Chelsea, I'm hoping as an Arsenal fan. I'm only watching. Yeah, no, it is possible. Birmingham beat Arsenal in the beginning of the middle of the season. Sorry, so anything is possible in this game. We've seen it this season,
and then it does all boil down to that final game, and we feel that it probably will, don't we?
Well, if you look at the start of the season, an upset on the first day of the season when Arsenal went out, Jonas Eidevall, maiden game, beat Chelsea 3-2, and you thought, wow, game on for the season. And it's
And it is all about Arsenal. They need to keep on winning. Meadow Park. A second one. Off the bar and in. Oh! And he's a stunner! Turned in by Lotto Wubenmoy. That's a brilliant finish. 50 Women's Super League goals for Nikita Paris to round off the perfect afternoon.